Ready?
Hello, once again, welcome to another video on Ugo Creates and Comics TV. And I'm Ugo Amadi, creator and founder of Wild Comics. So today is 4 things you need to know about making comics. Now, we'll go right in. The first for me is art is key. So since comic book storytelling is visual, it's a very visual storytelling platform. And given the fact that you have lots of comics in circulation, whether mainstream or indie comics like mine, or maybe your Black Moss or Concrete Comics, several indie comics. So you have very good artists drawing for these comic books, for these various comic book publishers. So art is key. That is, if the art in your book isn't very good, then obviously it would stand out like a sore thumb, and then you don't have people really keen, coming in to read your book, because art is what initially drags people to your work, but also is what conveys most part of your story, all the emotions of characters, their actions, and just the general story that you're telling. So it's very, very important from that standpoint. So art is key. Now, if you're an indie comic creator and you don't have the gift of drawing, you can't draw, there are various places you can find an artist, or maybe you can draw, but because of other things you have to do to get the work done, you are unable to commit yourself to drawing. There are various places where you can find freelance artists that will sort of help you bring your book to life. So you can go on Upwork, you can go on Fiverr, you could also go on Facebook and various groups there as well, and you can go on Instagram. In other words, you can use various social media platforms that are available to get your work done. So art is key, and don't be afraid to actually request for the portfolio of these various artists to make sure their art match the type of stories you write it as well. And it's also important to ask for or look for artists who are genre specific. So if you're writing a horror story, for instance, you look for an artist that has experience drawing for horror, because it's different. If you're going into full superhero mode, you look for artists who are, who have a portfolio that indicates their delivery or successful delivery of superhero stories. So that's for the first part. Now, the second one is storytelling is important. Now, I've mentioned earlier that art is key because art draws you in to a book. It draws readers into the book, whether they're buying on Kindle or they're reading on Film Kindle, or they're buying from your own e-commerce shop, or going to buy from a brick and mortar store. Art is indeed key. Art is key. So no doubt about that. But storytelling is important, because you can have the beautiful artwork that you have in your work and it draws people in. But then if your story isn't compelling enough, isn't engaging enough, if it doesn't pull in your sort of reader, or pull in the reader, quickly enough, and he'll have them spellbound, or rather have them engaged, get them buying into, or rather get them bought into the character, maybe your protagonist or your antagonist or some supporting characters, then there'll be an issue. If there are issues with respect to pacing, there'll be a problem as well. So one thing I want to mention is sometimes comic book creators, especially indie comic creators, we forget that it's not just the cool stuff, it's also the comic book, as visual and as attractive as it is also a storytelling medium. So other storytelling techniques like exposition, revelation, payoffs, and things like that, that apply in other mediums of storytelling, whether TV series or regular prose or a drama, book or novel, would also apply to comic book. So you can also do your research and also read storytelling books. Because when I was starting out, I always had this tradition of reading different books that helped me improve my storytelling of technique. Learn about new storytelling techniques, new things you need to sort of include in your storytelling because it's very important. Back into the art point, since you have this amazing artwork everywhere, you know, what what now would make you stand out even more is the quality of your story. And if you're in the superhero space, you have a saturation of superheroes. What would make your own comic stand out would be, how impactful your story is, how relatable the story is, how the character, your reader can connect to the superhero you just created. So it doesn't just look cool because the art can look cool. Oh, this character looks cool, but what keeps the reader coming to your work to read and keep reading? And if you have a series, for instance, to get book one and then go to book two and follow it, is storytelling. So storytelling is very, very important, very, very essential. Now, the third thing for me is that you need to know about telling stories, or rather, before for making comics, you need to know about making comics. The third thing is comic book are multi-genre. You can tell different stories, different type of stories in comic books. Now, it doesn't have to be superhero comics. It doesn't have to be superheroes alone. Um, that's admit that makes up for like 80%, 90% of stories told via the medium of comics, comic books, are superhero stories. But you can also tell other stories. For instance, I have a book written titled "When I Close My Eyes." It's a horror team story. No superhero inside. It's just plainly horror team story. So you may be someone who wants to start his or own comic book, and you're wondering, you may be asking yourself, or maybe thinking to yourself, should I really go into comics as a medium of telling my stories? I'm not really into superheroes that much. So does this would this really suit me? Would this really be a suitable medium to tell my stories? Yes. Comic books can be used to tell a variety of stories. It could be comedy, it could be romance, it could be straight up action, it could be horror themed like the one I've written, that doesn't have anything to do with superheroes. Yes, you can. Write your comic book. You can write comic books. You can use comic books as a platform to tell your non-superhero stories. And for people out there as well who have this stereotypical view, I mean, readers out there may have this stereotypical view that comic books are only for superhero lovers who would like superheroes, who want to read about superheroes. You can have the diverse range of storylines and subject matters and genres that are covered with comic books that can be covered with comic books. So go into your comic book store and get a comic book. Don't be afraid. You can get multi-genres, like I mentioned, romance, action, that have nothing to do with superheroes from your comic book shop, whether online or a brick and mortar store. So, and also to mention this point again, whether or not you are a whether you want to get into telling stories via comics, don't be deterred by the fact that most of the stories told via comics are superhero stories. Don't be deterred by that because you can tell stories other than superhero stories. And I've given an example. When I Close My Eyes, it's a comic book, it's a horror series that I've written. I've written the first book. The second book is in the works. Keep your eyes peeled on this page and on my Instagram page as well. And I would give you updates as to when the next book would be coming up. So at this point, I would like to say thanks for watching so far and supporting and watching and sharing and subscribing to the page. But if you haven't yet subscribed to this page, subscribe to this channel, like the video and share the video. It will indeed help me greatly with the algorithm on here on YouTube and help me to grow my channel more and encourage me to continue to create videos and content for you. And so now the last bit, and this bit is what many people don't consider when they're about writing their own comics or going into comics. And something you must learn, and that is marketing. Marketing, marketing, marketing. That's the fourth one for me. The fourth one for me is marketing. You have to market. Because for creative and artistic people, what comes easy to do? Write scripts. What comes easy to do? Draw. Do your penciling, your inking, your coloring. So that's easy, beautiful. But then marketing. Because like I said, you have amazing indie comic books out there, like Wahala Comics. That's mine. You have Concrete Comics. You have uh, Black Moss Comics, and as well you have the mainstream ones that still in business. So you have your DC Comics, your Image Comics, your Marvel Comics. You have all these as well. So you're trying to compete for market share, which is something that many artistic people may not embrace. But if you're making comics for a wider audience, you must market, 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 market. You must be engaged in marketing, 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 marketing. Now, if that's a skill you already have, that's brilliant. If you don't have the skills, you should find books, do some short courses, and learn how to market your books, whether using social media or digital marketing or in-person marketing as well. That will really, really help you. So it's something you should know about comics. You have to market your books, because one thing artistic people we sort of do sometimes is we feel when we've created something, we've done the world a favor, so everyone should be lining up to give us their money. No, they're actually readers and fans, but also they're sort of customers as well. That's something people don't really want to embrace. They're also customers as well, and you're competing for a market share with the existing big players in mainstream comics, as well as smaller indie comic publishers and even bigger indie comic publishers like Image Comics. Sometimes they say they're indie. I don't think they are. Black Horse is definitely not not an indie comic. Boom Studios definitely not. So, but you are indeed competing for market share with the established brands, and then even the ones that are still at the same level with yourself. So these are the four things you should know about comics. So once again, thanks for watching this video, and keep watching, keep liking, and also share this video to other people as well. So at this point, coming to the end of today's video. To have a splendid day, and I'll see you next video. Bye.